fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. We begin today's newscast with the Quezon City government confirming yet another UK variant case today. Hannibal Talete is joining us on the line from Quezon City to give us the latest on this. Hannibal, good morning. Could you give us the situation there?
Yes, good morning, Charles. Magsasagawa ng contact tracing at testing ang Quezon City government sa community na nasasakupan ng Riverside sa Barangay Commonwealth. Ito ay matapos na magpositibo sa B117 variant o UK variant ang isang 35 anyos na lalaki. Na-quarantine itong lalaki matapos itong magpositibo sa COVID-19. Kahapon lamang napag-alaman ng Quezon City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit mula sa DOH na nagpositibo sa UK variant matapos na masuri ang samples ng Philippine Genome Center. Ngayong araw ay ililipat sa Hope Facility ang lalaki maging ang kanyang kasama nito. Ang lalaki na nagpositibo sa UK variant ay mula sa Liluan, Cebu. Dati siyang OFW na mula sa Korea na umuwi sa bansa noong August 2020 at tumigil sa Cebu. Noong November 17, 2020, pumunta ang lalaki sa Sucat, Paranaque. Napadalas ang pagpunta ng lalaki sa isang manning agency sa Malate, Manila. Huling bisita nito sa manning agency ay noong January 14 habang nag-aasikaso ng kanyang mga papeles pabalik ng ibang bansa. Habang nag-aantay ng kanyang deployment, sumakay ito ng taxi at nagpahatid sa isang hotel at nagstay noong January 17. Kasabay nung araw na yun, Charles, sumailalim ito sa swab test sa Pasay. Sumunod na araw, sinabihan ito ng DOH na nagpositibo sa COVID-19 at nanatili pa rin ito sa hotel. January 21, lumabas ng hotel ang lalaki at ipinasakay ito ng kanyang agency o manning agency sa isang taxi at nagpahatid sa Riverside sa Commonwealth. Charles, ito na ang pangwalong kaso ng UK variant sa Pilipinas ayon sa DOH. Sa ngayon, sinabi rin ng DOH na mild symptoms lamang siya ng COVID-19. Charles?
Right, thanks for that, Hannibal. Do we know now how many confirmed cases there are of this UK variant case sa Quezon City? And have we heard from Mayor Joy Belmonte?
Yes, so far, Charles, dalawang kaso pa lamang ang nakikita natin dito, na monitor dito sa may bahagi ng Quezon City, At umapila nga dito si Mayor Joy Belmonte doon sa manning agency na bakit pinalabas nito yung lalaki na alam naman nilang nagpositibo ito sa UK variant, At sabi nga ng alkalde na posibleng nga panagutin itong hotel at yung manning agency dahil sa kanilang kapabayaan sa protocol na ipinapatupad ng DOH ng IATF, Charles.
Right, Hannibal, are we hearing plans of maybe magpapatupad ng mas mahigpit na lockdown sa Quezon City dahil dito?
Yes, doon sa bahagi ng Riverside, posibleng nga mag-lockdown doon dahil nga magsasagawa sila ng contact tracing doon sa lugar na yun, Charles.
Right, thanks for that. Hannibal Talete reporting live from Quezon City. Meanwhile, here are today's top stories. The arrival of COVID-19 vaccines will be delayed, but the health department says there's no need to worry. The OCTA research team says Metro Manila is in its best situation since June. However, that's not the case for the Queen City of the South. Study shows 1 in 2 Filipinos does not approve of the government's pandemic response. But not just that, the Philippines has the highest disapproval rate in Southeast Asia. While the country's health workers are still waiting for their COVID-19 vaccines, one government official says soldiers and police officers are expected to get vaccinated with the shots donated by China. But now that Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines are set to arrive, the health department says community quarantine classifications, even lower than MGCQ, may be implemented very soon. The health department says there might be some delays in the scheduled arrival of COVID-19 vaccines. Speaking with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said that the doses of Pfizer vaccines from the COVAX facility will arrive in the Philippines soon, but probably at a later date.
Yung February 15 na binigay na date, isang araw po, this is an indicative date and it will all depend on the finalized arrangements with the COVAX facility. So sa ngayon po, meron lang po tayong pina-final na mga dokumento na para maibigay sa kanila at para makapag-respond sila for the confirmation. So if ever po, kung madidelay man tayo, mga ilang araw lang po yan.
While authorities have yet to confirm the arrival of vaccines, Cardinal Santos Medical Center has announced that it is one of the hospitals that will roll out COVID-19 vaccines next week. The hospital is still finalizing the date of vaccination, but it claims to be one of the first private facilities to administer COVID shots to frontliners. Despite the possible delays in vaccine rollout, the OCTA research team claims that Metro Manila is, quote, in its best situation since June. In an interview with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, OCTA research fellow Guido David explained that since the national capital region is only averaging less than 400 cases a day, the curve is somehow flattening in the region.
But the UK variant can change that, and that is the concern. And in fact, yung worry natin is yung nakikita natin sa Cebu City, because Cebu City happens to be one of the best managed cities, LGUs, in the country. We know that kasi after nila mag-MECQ and ECQ no June, July, wala na silang surge eh. They had some periods na they had an uptick, an increase in cases, pero lagi nilang napapababa eh. We even call them a model LGU some time ago because of that.
Meanwhile, David said that the best way to deal with the situation in the Queen City of the South is to strictly enforce their current quarantine restrictions.
At the very least, kailangan they have to implement their current quarantine restrictions strictly. Ibig sabihin, kailangan talaga mapatupad yung wearing face mask, face shield, social distancing. At the minimum, yan yung kailangan nila to slow down the increase. Kasi we've been watching Cebu City for about a month now, and patuloy yung pag-increase eh. The caseloads are doubling every 2 weeks, and this is a pattern that suggests the possibility na may variant doon. Kasi ganun nakita namin.
A study shows that Filipinos are the most disapproving of their government's pandemic response in Southeast Asia. Based on this year's State of Southeast Asia survey, 53.7% of Filipinos disapprove of the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is the highest disapproval rating in Southeast Asia, followed by Indonesia at 50.4%. In contrast, respondents from Vietnam, Brunei, and Singapore recorded the lowest rates of disapproval. Breaking down the assessment of the Philippines' pandemic response, almost 18% gave strong disapproval of the government's handling of the health crisis. 35.8% disapprove, while 20.9% remain neutral. Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. The Philippine Star reports that President Duterte wants soldiers and policemen to be the first to receive Sinovac shots that will be donated by China. This as the president considers the country's security personnel as frontliners. The Chinese government had earlier committed to donate at least 500,000 doses of Coronavac to the Philippines. The Health Department eyes to wrap up the country's vaccination program by 2023. Pangmasa reports that the government is aiming to reach its vaccination target of 50 to 70 million Filipinos over the next 2 years. However, the DOH says they are still hoping that this vaccination program will be completed at an earlier date. And this from Business World Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said many parts of the country will remain under lockdown even after the vaccine rollout begins. Nograles said easing quarantine restrictions would depend on the efficacy of the vaccines and whether COVID cases drop. While we would still be under some form of lockdown, the Health Department says it is possible that quarantine classifications will be further relaxed after vaccination. Although DOH spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergere reminded the public that it is still possible to contract or transmit COVID-19 even after getting the shot. That's why minimum health protocols must still be observed.
Ngunit, because there are already vaccines and when there is enough coverage already o marami na nabibigyan ng bakuna, maaari na po tayo makapag-shift dito sa classification na bago na pwede natin sabihin na mas mababa na sa MCQ.
Here are the stories to watch out for later today. The World Health Organization has just released its recommendations on AstraZeneca vaccines following South Africa's decision to stop its rollout. However, the WHO approves the use of AstraZeneca shots for adults, including senior citizens. The preliminary investigation into the death of Christine Dacera continues today. prosecution is set to submit its reply affidavit before the Makati prosecutor's office. And it's the eye of the Lunar New Year. How will the world celebrate the year of the ox amid the pandemic? And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We're One News.